In Africa, Ghana is probably top 5 when it comes to owing money. That fact was highlighted even more this week when it was put out there in the press that Ghana owes Deutsche Bank $3.5 billion. And now that's in addition to owing IMF $2.7 billion, owing China $1.7 billion, and owing World Bank $1.7 billion. Now, although it does seem, when the press puts it out there that debt is a really bad thing and, what is Ghana doing? Debt is not necessarily always a bad thing. And we can see that with billionaires, for instance. Like, most billionaires actually become billionaires by leveraging a lot of debt and, creating businesses that make a heck of a lot of profit and just working with that debt in order to just, platform like a business on a bigger scale, basically, and to make more profit. Ghana is not necessarily doing that, hence the fact that, we're sort of tied a lot to this debt. But where debt is good is that we can build roads, we can build infrastructures, we can, create jobs and pump a lot of that money back in to create further jobs and to just really see Ghana developing as an infrastructure and, of course, building hospitals and helping to fix water supply problems like we saw in Tamale. So investment in development is good, basically, because we're financing very essential projects. We're also stimulating economic activity. We're attracting foreign investments because people look at us as a country that is growing because we're building so much. And obviously we have a very stable political environment because Ghana is actually the safest or one of the safest African countries to live in on the continent. And so this attracts, foreign direct investment, etc., which is good. So we can leverage that debt to a certain extent. Where we can't leverage that debt, unfortunately, is that if we are slow to repay, which Ghana is, that attracts even more interest. And furthermore, in terms of, apart from not servicing that debt, we're not being sustainable. For instance, our debt to GDP ratio should be manageable. And so if we've got a high ratio indication, this can indicate that the government is basically struggling to pay back, which is the current case. And because we're so heavily reliant on debt, we can't really diversify the economy in terms of where any little thing that happens globally and locally in terms of the economy, we feel that shock immediately. So although it is a revelation this week that Ghana does owe Deutsche Bank $3.5 billion, even though we used to think we owed China more than anybody else, we in fact owe Deutsche Bank that much. It does seem like a bad thing, and at present Ghana isn't really leveraging that debt in terms of we're not paying it off fast enough, etc. But debt can become a good thing, and if we start repaying and we start creating more jobs and we start actually building all this infrastructure that we say that we're building, or we say we're going to build, we can leverage that debt for good, essentially. So hopefully in the coming years we can start repaying that debt.